Buzz.
Bites.
All right. Party people in the place to be, vandals, and whatever else might be lurking out in the darkness. This is me, Big MC J Money, coming at you loud and representing. Who is joining me this wonderful night to talk about this wonderful record?
Everybody knows it's just another victim. 40-ounce Goose here, ready to fucking talk about some badass pre-new metal. And you got this guy.
Joe here as always. So,
MC Joe.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about these revolutionary tracks. Like Goose said earlier off air, you could definitely hear the roots of new metal here and a lot of these tunes. So we'll touch on that as we go through the playlist.
That's right. Tonight we are talking about a pretty important piece of music, in my opinion. It was huge when it came out because at this time, you didn't have like the extreme crossovers that you have now. Like nowadays, hip hop's kind of infiltrated everything. But in '93, like rappers and rockers didn't really roll together. You had uh, uh, Public Enemy and Anthrax, and you had Aerosmith and Run DMC, and that was kind of it before this record. So when it came out, it was just such a banger because there was just these groups that you're kind of looking at and you're like, how's this going to work? And then when you hear it, it's phenomenal. The Judgment Night soundtrack is a soundtrack for a movie that most people don't remember, and for good reasons. It's a pretty mediocre urban thriller where Dennis Leary chases Emilio Estevez through the hood. Very believable, very, very likely scenario. Like, if you're going to get stuck in the Chicago hood, it's going to be Dennis Leary that chases you. I'm pretty sure that's happened to everybody, right, Goose? Like, didn't that happen to you when you went to Chicago?
Yeah, but then I found a guy in a field with a joke book and everything worked out.
Yeah. That's why Joe won't go south. He got chased by Dennis Leary once in Chicago. So, but this soundtrack is just popping, and I don't see how else we can do this besides just getting right into it. The first track is a really cool team up. It's one that you could see right away working. It's Helmet and House of Pain with Just Another Victim. And man, the guitar riff, the hook, this thing bangs. Joe, since you're like the Helmet, House of Pain guy in the Crow soundtrack, you kind of brought this episode into fruition. How do you feel about this track?
I like Helmet, and I love that little what do you call it? The snare, the echo, and everything that's typical of the drums from Helmet, and it works really well with a hip hop beat. So I mean, I dug it, and like you guys said earlier, it might go on a little long though, but I definitely love the little echo kind of sound in the drum beat, which is pretty cool.
Goose.
Oh man, I really thought with the opening track, it kind of set the tone for how the rest of the album was gonna be. Like we were discussing before we came on, you can tell the seeds of new metal were being planted at this time. This is around the same time that Rage Against the Machine's getting real popular. A lot of that stuff. So I thought that this was perfect for the time, and it really set the tone for the rest of the album. I thought the riffs were super solid and crunchy. Like Joe said, that kind of echo and reverb that they've got just really like adds to the grittiness of this song. And that kind of, the whole album is very gritty and grimy sounding, and I really like that. I like House of Pain and the scratching and stuff that you're hearing with the what you would call it, with the vinyls and stuff like that, and it gives it a very good meshing. I thought it was a solid mashup to start off the album. You wouldn't think House of Pain and Helmet doing a song would be as good as it is, but it's fantastic in my opinion. I really enjoyed it.
Well, DJ Lethal from House of Pain ended up joining Limp Bizkit, and you can kind of hear a little bit of what he would later perfect with that band. Or I don't know how you feel about Limp Bizkit, but I think he did really good work with them, despite even my feelings about the band in general. And yeah, it just really rips. There's I liked it this one because the guy from Helmet actually does a lot of vocals in it. A lot of the other bands don't really do very much singing. So this was actually a pretty big crossover, unlike a lot of the other songs on here. And yeah, dude, it's really cool. Plus, Eric Schroedy, aka Everlast from House of Pain, was one of the stars of the film. So it's cool that he got a really good track on this album. He's
Oh, I
like
didn't realize
You
I didn't realize that he was in the movie.
Yeah, he's the third in charge of Dennis Leary's guys. Like,
Okay.
there's Dennis Leary, and there's that guy that was the bad guy in the mask, and then Everlast is like the underling between the two
So
of
it
them.
makes sense that they open the soundtrack with that tune. Then that's cool.
Yeah.
You had mentioned me not knowing my feelings on Limp Bizkit, but you can tell by my backwards hat and my sweet facial hair that I am ready to break stuff. And so I couldn't remember DJ Lethal's name, but I knew that he had gone on to do Limp Bizkit. And like I said, they helped really kind of pioneer that new metal sound and bring it to the forefront. And I think that DJ Lethal's influence on this album kind of helped, like I said, sow the seeds for that. I thought it was really great, and like you said, he was in the movie, and he got one of the better tracks on the album, in my opinion.
Yeah.
My feelings on Limp Bizkit are I don't like their fans, basically. My roommate from when I was in college, his little brother came and stayed with us one weekend, man. And we used to listen to like a lot of punk, like Bad Religion, No Effects. He's like, "That's pussy music. Only fucking pussies listen to that. Limp Bizkit's the real shit." And I was like, "Oh my god, fucking stupid idiot." Anyway, that's why I hate Limp Bizkit, because I hate their fans.
I really like their first album, like $3 Bill, like that thing shredded. But after that, I kind of fell off of with them a little bit. But like,
You
I really
gotta
like.
have faith, fellas.
Fucking bratty, bunch of brats.
Sweaty fat kid jams is what they are. What they make.
Fucking entitled fucking kids that think they're hard.
But zipping right along, we get a nice little kind of slow jam, man. I really enjoy this track. The beat is done by a band I don't really know very well. They're called Teenage Fan Club. It's rapped over by the kings of very early conscious rap, De La Soul. This is a wonderful track. It's called Fallen. And Goosey, why don't you take it away first with how you feel about this nice, chill, kind of smokable song?
I was kind of in the same boat as you. I was not aware of Teenage Fan Club. I'd never really heard of them, but I had heard of De La Soul, and I love De La Soul. Like you said, they were some of the progenitors of the conscious rap style. What I generally refer to as like the jazzy type rap that I really enjoy. But it sounded to me like any song you would hear on a De La Soul, one of the earlier De La Soul albums. It was very clean. It nicely paced. The rapping over it I thought was fantastic, and them using Tom Petty's "Free Fallin'" as the sample for this, I thought was really well. I've heard it done since then by Pimp C when he got out of prison. He did the song "Falling" "Free," where he used the kind of the same beat but with a more southern tinge to it. And I really like both of these. I like Tom Petty, and so it's perfect. Tom Petty, De La Soul, and apparently Teenage Fan Club make a really, really nice, cohesive like mashup of genres. I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, they play a very minimal, very barely there type beat, but it fits the song really good. It's very soulful, like the band itself. So I have to say that their instrumentation fit the song perfectly, even though like they were barely present on it, the band Teenage Fan Club. But I still hear this song to this day in commercials and stuff. So that's probably why we never heard of the band. They just made enough money off of this one song to live happily forever. Joey,
It's a really well produced song. Like, it's clean, it's tight. The riffs are perfect. The melodies are good. I mean, this is a top notch produced song. Like, it's quality right from start to finish. Yeah, can't say anything bad. And it's like you said, it's a little more smooth than some of the other tunes on the album, but I mean, that's good. I dig it.
Yeah, it grooves because like after this, the album really ramps up. It gets really heavy in the next couple tracks. So it's kind of cool to have a nice kind of like little groove setter before like the storm really hits.
But that's pretty typical of some later 90s music, like the beat of this one with the guitars and stuff. A lot of a lot of bands came out with some similar tunes later on in the 90s, like just some chill, just fun summertime music that
Yeah, like
resembled
Sugar
this too.
Ray. Like the band Sugar Ray totally fucking loved this song, I guarantee you.
Well, all right, but if we're gonna talk, if we're gonna mention them at all, their first album fucking ripped, bro.
Oh, back
I
when they
liked it.
were like doing the rap rock stuff, kind of like they were
Yeah,
kind
they're
of like a heavier Incubus when they first came
yeah,
out.
they were pretty heavy early on. Then they got that one commercial hit, and they went
Yeah, they
all
did.
super poppy.
They did Fly and never came back, man. They were just like
No,
with Super Cat, baby. Super Cat
they flew
killed
away
that
with
shit.
all their money. Yeah, you know the singer, right? He's one of the hosts on like Entertainment Tonight or some kind of show like that now, eh?
Mark
Did you know that?
McGrath, baby. He was on.
Yeah.
He was on Sharknado 2. He played.
He was in Scooby Doo. He was in the first Scooby Doo movie, and that shit was, oh, it's so fire. I love it.
Hell yeah.
He's reporting like Hollywood gossip now on one of those entertainment shows.
I saw him do an interview not too long ago where he was seriously coked up during the interview, and he's just like rambling on, and it's kind of incredible. I'll send you guys the link after the show, but let's talk more about Judgment Night and less Mark McGrath.
Yeah, we kind of got off on a tangent, but that's okay. Mark McGrath does that. He's a rabbit hole in himself. But talking about really tight riffs, man, this band was so good. Living Color, like they were just so technical and tight. They do this really kind of fun song with Run DMC. It kind of sounds like a 311 song, if I'm being honest. Like when I was listening to it earlier this week for the first time, I'm like, man, this jam's like a 311 song off of that self-titled album from '95. It's called Me, Myself, and My Microphone. And it's pretty good. It's like kind of like a really kind of ruckusy hard rock song, not quite metal. And you just got Run DMC doing their typical big MC flashy stuff, singing about talking about taking the bus and riding trains and rocking the microphone. It's good stuff. Joe, how do you get jiggy with this track?
Yeah, this is probably one of the first ones on the where you really kind of see the influence maybe that some of these songs might have had on nu metal, because it really gets into it and they get aggressive with the way they rap to the tune, and you know it definitely kicks, man. It slaps, and they get into it. The beats are a little quicker, a little more aggressive, and yeah, you can feel it. You vibe on this one. This one really gives you that kind of mishmash of like the rap with the metal or the heavier riffs. This is one of the first ones that really the two come together perfectly on this one.
I absolutely love this song. I'm a huge Run DMC fan. If my dad was here right now, he'd probably be in the chats talking about how he, reared me with fucking listening to Run DMC and the Beastie Boys and stuff. And so I was already a fan of Run DMC. I love Living Color. Cult of Personality, such a fucking baller ass song. And I really think that these two mesh so well because Run DMC already had a foot in the door on kind of the rock fan base, and then adding them with Living Color, I thought it just melded together so perfectly. They like I thought they were better suited playing with Living Color than I did them with Aerosmith, and I know a lot of people probably just a lot of people would probably disagree with me, but Johnny doesn't, so that's perfect. It felt really organic, like they had been playing together for years. And I think that not only did Run DMC capture the rock sound that they have done before, I think they really perfected it with this song, but I really think that Living Color played to all of Run DMC's strengths with their music on the track. I thought it's not my favorite song on the album. It's probably my second or third favorite, but I think it is the most effective in what the album was trying to do. I think that this was the most effective song as far as mixing two genres together and having them just kind of go all out. I thought they did a fantastic job. It was, like I said, probably the most effective song on the album in my opinion.
That's fair. I really like it too. I think it has a lot to do with just how technical and talented Living Color were. They get really jazzy with their chord structures, and I think that really suits well to hip hop because like that's the birthplace of like all kind of soulful music, and it just kind of all shines even with the distortion and everything. Like they're still basically playing jazz and. It just flows, man. It's a really good track, and Run DMC are always just so much fun to listen to, man. Like they don't talk about anything big or important. They talk about their shoes and buses and shit, but like, man, they're a blast. You know what I mean? I always have a good time with those guys.
Yeah, man, they play party music. That's what the 80s were about.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about this record. I didn't mention at the beginning, and I meant to. This thing came out before G-Funk took over and everything became about being a big gangster. Like the days of the big MC were still a thing at this time. The gold chains, the black turtlenecks, like that all still flew in this time period when this record came out. So that's another thing that kind of makes this thing precious in my opinion. Is before I'm not going to say I dislike gangster rap because I love it, but a lot of the fun got sucked out of the music at that point, and a lot of that fun is still present here with some of the MCs that are involved in this project.
I still to this day, anytime I put on Adidas, like Run DMC is the first thing in my head. Like I bought a pair of Superstars, the Shell Toes, like 5-6 years ago that I still keep in like fresh condition. It was the black pair with the white stripes, the kind of like the rock when I'm on the mic. Like, Run DMC is such a fun group, and it really shines. It really shines on this song as well. Like you said, it kind of predates the G-Funk era, only I'm sure by months, because Snoop Dogg dropped his album the same year, and then I think it was shortly after Dr. Dre dropped his album in '92. So I mean, this is right at that pivotal kind of shift between the sounds, and Run DMC was one of the best to do it in that era, and I think it really shines through on this song.
Amen. And getting it even heavier, we're going into track 4. This is the title track, Judgment Night, by Biohazard and Onyx. And this is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. Whenever I make like a mixtape or a CD or even a playlist, this is always on it because it's just such an aggressive and offensive song that's meant to be that way. A lot of the stuff that the guys from Onyx say is just hilarious to me. I love when he says, "When I'm born to raise hell and make the white man call me master." I'm just like, dude, that is the greatest line in hip hop history. So I just really, really appreciate the song and love it. And I liked Onyx when I heard Slam, I think a little bit before this album came out. So I was already into them, and I think that they have the perfect voices for metal. I wish that Sticky Fingers and the guys would have actually did like an album with Fear Factory around the same time Cypress Hill did. So yeah, I'm a huge, huge fan of this track, Judgment Night. How do you guys feel about it?
I don't like the intro to it. I have a thing about like when you do a soundtrack for a movie and you just keep throwing the name of the movie in it. It just for some reason it always bugs me. But then once you get past the chorus and that, it's actually pretty solid. Got some good riffs. Like you said, Onyx, they do pretty good. Like I mean, you kind of hear that old rap like before all the gangster, like you had that rap kind of like Cypress Hill before it got super gangster and stuff, and they have that same kind of vibe and style, I find, which fits well on this album because you got Cypress Hill who are on here as well, so it's perfect.
Yeah, they're more on the aggressive side, but they weren't quite gangstered out. You know what
I
mean?
That's it. Yeah, it was still like you say, their lyrics were fun and funny. Like it wasn't just about fucking bitches and popping caps, right? So,
and we keep talking about new metal, and in my opinion, Biohazard was new metal before there was new metal. Like them and Fear Factory, they were kind of doing like that whole scene of things before like it took off, before Korn and the Bands came out. So like them doing this song with Onyx is almost perfect, and yeah, like I never was too huge a fan of them, but it makes sense that they would be on here. And Goose is back. Goose, how do you feel about this one?
It it wasn't my. I hear you talking it up, and it sounds like the way you make it sounds better than what I'm gonna say. It wasn't my favorite track on the album. I thought it was a good angry track. I thought it was good in that sense, but it just didn't hit for me. I get it being the title track, but I just didn't feel this was the best song on the album. Like I was saying, the guitars are good, and the kind of screaming vocals. Like I said, the angriness of it, I get that, but for me, it just wasn't too effective in the like. If you were to split the song up, I think, because I like Biohazard and I like Onyx. If you were to split the song up and maybe, I thought, give them both a different band or group to perform with on the album, I thought it would have been better. It sounded gritty and dirty and grimy and matched the rest of the album, but it just wasn't my favorite. I on my like second or third listen through, I did skip over this one, but I was a big fan of the next one that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, we'll keep rolling right on into that one. The next one is, of course, the king of nihilistic gangster rap, like the progenitor of it, with the lords of thrash metal. We have Ice-T teaming up with Slayer to do the song Disorder, which is just probably one of the best punk rock songs you'll ever hear in your life. And the great thing about this song is it's just as relevant today as it was when Ice-T wrote it and this song came out. Everything that he talks about in this song is still going on. It's still hyper relevant. It just starts out so great with the war, and then the government is fucked, and man, it just rocks. And then it has a breakdown that's really hardcore, and then like they just start yelling slogans, and yeah, man, it is punk rock to the bone. Like I just want to get in the pit and pick up change listening to this one. Joey, how do you feel about this one?
I'll let you get in the pit, and I'll just watch you fucking thrash out, because this one wasn't for me. I mean, it's not bad. Like it's decent, it's good, but I don't know. It's probably one of the weaker ones I found on the album for me. Like you say, like, you know, war, then what's his name, the guy from Slayer, repeats it, and it's kind of cool. It's got a few little catchy parts on it, but you know, like you say, just screaming out slogans like you're at a pep rally or some kind of protest, it just doesn't do it for me.
When they're yelling war and they're both doing it, does it kind of remind you of the Stallone Judge Dredd movie with the law? That's kind of what I was thinking of listening. Goose, I know you want to talk about this one because I know you love both these groups.
Oh man, when it comes to thrash metal and some of the and the speed metal and like the influences that this band has, when you talk about the four greats, and I'll mention them even though I can't fucking really stand them: Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth, and you can't stop the list without fucking Slayer. And I think that Slayer being who they are and Ice-T being who he is was so fucking perfect to mash up. Ice-T was doing the rock stuff at this point in time. He has Body Count. I've seen them live. They fucking kick ass. I love them. But I thought that this is an anti-government, anti-war banger with quite possibly two of the best of the time, really kicking some heavy grooves. I thought all of it was just really, really nice. It wasn't a step. I think that for the album, with it being, you know, getting a rapper and getting a rock group together, or a rap group with a rock group, I thought that this was kind of your safest bet, considering that Ice-T had kind of already stepped into the realm of rock, but has his rap roots. And so I really think this was a safe bet, and they performed so well together, man. Oh, hey, my mom's here. I really like Ice-T, and I really like Body Count and how angry they are. I really like how angry Slayer is, and I think their angers just like combine to make one of the angriest, just violent songs. Like you said, it makes me want to get down in the pit and fuck some shit up. I haven't been to a show in so long, and these elbows have some lips to kiss. And this song makes me just want to do awful things to people I don't know and then hug them when the song's over. Like that. It's fantastic, man. The riffs, it's got a very big thrash vibe to me, and like you just cannot get better than Ice-T and Kerry Keenan belting fucking slogans and just the fucking, oh goddamn it, I love it so much. It was awesome. I hadn't heard this album or this song before, and like that was one of the ones I got added to my absolute favorites playlist. And so, yeah, definitely a big fan of it.
Right. I mean, because to tell you the truth, I grew up when I was a kid. Like Ice-T was a big rapper, so I more know him as a metal guy than a rapper at this point. Even though he does a lot of count is technically hip hop, still, I still see it as like straight up hardcore because they sound like sick of it all, kind of just with Ice-T. And this kind of like I think really kind of cemented him going that direction. And you can just tell that he enjoys doing this type of music. He rocks the fuck out. You can tell that him and the band just cohesed and like they rocked out together. And that's the thing that I like about a lot of these tracks is like you can tell that the rappers actually got really, really into working with the bands that they did and they actually rocked the fuck out to these songs while they're recording them. And that's cool. Because at the time you were thought that like rappers didn't like rock and rockers didn't like rap, but if you listen to this, it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like everybody's just really, really having fun working together.
Hey, when you're in the studio drinking and doing drugs together, man, shit happens, right? Fucking
right.
These boys were probably partying hard while recording all this shit.
40s and blunts, man. With like this crew, hell yeah. Maybe a little powder,
baby. Well, that's the thing. I've always, I think me and Johnny have talked about it before off air a few times, but I've always likened the way that the DIY aesthetics of punk have bled into what like the kind of generation of rap that we have now. And so like I've always really kind of put those two genres kind of not really competing, but on the same level for influence, for just great music that was coming out. And I really think that you see this now because I mean it's not far-fetched to see fucking Travis Scott, a rapper, out on stage wearing a Slayer shirt or a Metallica shirt. And I think that there's been a lot of bands, especially after the new wave, I love new wave anyway, the new metal like influence, that now they have melted together and just formed one kind of really good genre. And like I said, that they were having fun. You can tell. And I would have loved to have been in that recording studio with them while they were making this track, because I bet it would have been a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just bangs too. You'd rock the hell out. I bet you they did a lot of like just rocking out while they were recording this, and yeah, that's always fun. I love being in jam sessions. But zipping right along, we have probably the quintessential of my favorite of like the metal rap songs on this album, and this is Another Body Murdered by Faith No More and the Booyah Tribe. And I don't know. I just love the track that Faith No More laid down. Mike Patton's weird, whoa, man, I love it. The way the Booyah Tribe guy raps like Chuck D from Public Enemy, it just smacks, man. I love this track. The blood curdling scream samples intermixed. I mean, it all just worked really good. It's a really freaky, really just heavy, brutal fucking track. Goose, how do you feel about this one?
Man, I really like Faith No More. I had never heard of the Booyah Tribe before listening to this album, but this was another perfect mashup in my opinion. I did not draw the comparisons to Chuck D, but now that you've said it, like Public Enemy and the way that they did a lot of their music, I felt that this person did, or I can feel that this person had pulled a lot of influences from that, because Public Enemy was hardcore as fuck back in the day. I mean, they were awesome. But I really think that Faith No More surprised me in this song. I didn't think that I would dislike it, but I was wondering how Faith No More was gonna do with somebody rapping over their stuff. But dude, it was fucking kick ass. The way that they had mashed those two up, and like you said, that was something that stuck out to me, was the it gave it this very like spooky vibe, and phenomenal song in my opinion. I think that's all I really wrote down was that this song was super kick ass. I said it goes hard as fuck. That was in my notes when I was going through. Is like, damn, song goes hard as fuck, and that's really the best summary that I have for it, dude. It's fucking kick ass. I love it.
Joey, how'd you feel
Uh,
about?
Like I said, there was 3 songs in a row that I said those 3 songs I love, but it was actually 4. Sorry, because this is where the album starts for me. This song is really where it just starts to rip. But like you said, the chanting in the beginning, oh, gives you that Rammstein kind of vibe to it right off the beginning, and then the hip hop guy, and while they're there, and then he's in the background like, booyah, and then he's like, turn me up. Turn me up. He's screaming in the back, and then it kicks in and he starts rapping. Such a good lead in for the song. Like, it's so fucking solid. And then the rest is just, it's phenomenal. I love this song. This is the first song on the album where I'm like, fuck yeah, I can get into it. And the leading is just perfect on this song. Like the way they just bring it in, it's masterfully done. I love it.
Do you think it was Mike Patton that did all the screaming? Because like I know that's one of his things is like he's good at all the different voices. Do you think like he did the samples for those screams? Or
have you ever played the Darkness, the video game, where he does the voice of the 2 demon arms?
No.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was him, because he does some good voice work on that video game. You should play it. Darkness.
Oh, I love the comic book.
Yeah, it's based on the comic book. Yeah.
I think I played a little bit of the second one because I remember the demon arms things, but I had no idea that was the guy from Faith No More. That's badass.
Yeah, he does the demon voices for the 2 arms there that speak and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been getting big into voice acting lately, which I mean is good for him because like that was his claim to fame in metal is like all the different noises he could make. Like he actually made albums of just him making vocal noises.
He had like a solid fucking range too, because was the song Epic? Like I think about Epic and just like I think he could rival, and a lot of people hate Axl Rose, but the man had a fucking vocal range that was incredible. But I think that the lead singer from Faith No More could challenge him on any day.
He actually didn't sing Epic though. Like that, Faith No More changed singers right after that album. Mike Patton came in with the album Angel Dust, but yeah, I forget Billy.
I don't know.
Billy Milano, I think, was the original singer for Faith No More. But yeah, no, Mike Patton's known for his range. Like, yeah, supposedly he can.
What's that other band he's part of there? Go listen to that. Like
Moss, he's in Mr. Bungle. He's got a bunch of
Mr. Bungle, yeah.
I like
that's like psychedelic circus psycho elevator music, man. That's some crazy shit. I like that music. I like that band. It's pretty good.
Well, yeah, no, that's awesome. I had no idea that was Mike Patton. I didn't know that Faith No More changed singers either, but they were, I say before my time, but like they were dropping shit in '93, and I wasn't birthed until '94, and so I'm a little behind on my Faith No More knowledge.
This album's older than you are by a year. Wow, that's killer,
dude.
But yeah, dude, Another Body Murdered is solid track. Bumping on to the next one, man. This is one of the ultimate smoke up songs. I don't care who you are. Like if you light up, like when you hear this track, you will. This is Sonic Youth and Cypress Hill. I Love You, Mary Jane. Much like Teenage Fan Club, Sonic Youth don't really do too much. The chick singer, she kind of has some backing vocals, but their instrumentation, they try to just replicate a Cypress Hill beat, and they do a phenomenal job. This song just bangs. It was one of the main reasons I picked up the soundtrack at the time. Like we all loved Cypress Hill, all of us in a little skate gang, and we loved their merch. Like they were the coolest rap group because they had like skulls and buds and guns on all their shit, and like they actually sold T-shirts. A lot of rappers didn't at the time. So yeah, this track was really important, and it's like I said, man, it's a party song. Goosey, how do you feel about I Love You, Mary Jane?
You know, The first things that I wrote down when I was taking my notes was this is the light them motherfucking joints, cuz this is a hazy song and a break from the heaviness of the album. I thought um it's kind of a breath of fresh air. Like the De La Soul song kind of misleads you after the first one, and then you get into a lot of the heavy stuff. But this is such a relaxing song. Like I say, relaxing in the sense of getting just like stoned out of your mind on the couch, like watching Rocco's Modern Life in the early '90s. Like I just imagine this is what was playing in most potheads. Like stereos between 93 and 95, because it, like you said, it's them trying to recreate a Cypress Hill beat now. And I like Sonic Youth, but like they did such a good job. And it's kind of like the same way I felt with the De La Soul track. You could hear it on any one of their older albums. The same with Cypress Hill. This song could have popped up literally right after Mr. Green Thumb on any of their shit. Like I thought it was really well done. It was kind of a sigh of relief. Not that you know I needed relief from the rest of the album, but when you get all that heavy, like something like this really kind of draws you back after all that. And I think it was probably, like I said, if the Run DMC song was my second or third favorite. Like I think it was my third, this being my second, because it's such a good fucking song. I absolutely enjoyed it. Cypress Hill doing what they do best.
Hey Joey, did Sugar come by and get you high?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's back in the day, man. I used to listen to Sonic Youth and Cypress Hill. So this was like the song that drew me to the soundtrack. These two bands together was like the selling point, and that's what made me go and listen to it. And I mean, I love the fact that they get Thurston Moore to replicate the riffs on the guitar. It's not as clean as on their albums. It has that little wonkiness, and it's not super precise all the time, which gives it that nice little twang. You know, it's not clean. It's a little off sometimes, which gives it its charm and fits the song perfectly. Because like Goose said, it's hazy, right? Or was it you that said that? Anyway, it gives it just flows and fits perfectly. Like, I don't know, get high, do a little mush, you know, just chill out. It's a fucking mushroom song, man. You get high, listen to this, and it's awesome. It definitely has its own vibe, its own flow. And I think they matched up really well, Cypress Hill and Sonic Youth. Like, pretty good.
Yeah, I think that there was a cohesion there. I think that they both respected each other already because, like, yeah, they kind of both just stepped up and like worked together. Like, it seems like Sonic Youth really just kind of wanted to make a Cypress Hill song with them, and they nailed it. Like, the track just bangs, and it doesn't go on for too long, and it just
because if you listen to some of Sonic Youth stuff, like there's some tracks on their albums, they get really weird and experimental with guitars and just sounds, and there isn't much singing. And like a lot of their songs, I don't even know if you can call them songs. Like, I mean, they're just making sounds and noises, right? So like, I mean, I think they had a blast just kind of playing around with the instruments and trying to replicate like these odd echoey beats and sounds that Cypress Hill uses in their songs, and it turned out great.
Amen. Yeah, just a really solid track, and yeah, I think it drew most people to the soundtrack because I didn't know a lot of the bands or rappers that were on this, well, except for the big ones. But yeah, like it was, and it was a total good payoff. You didn't feel ripped off when you got to the Cypress Hill song on the record or on the tape. So when I first had this, it was on a cassette. Back '93, gotta love it.
Yeah, hey. Got to get your friends to fucking, that's it. You each buy an album, you all buy a few blank tapes, you record it, and you just trade it off, exactly. Man. Yeah, that's the way we did it back in the day.
All right, and next up we have.
I was just gonna say that was before you could give your computer STDs with LimeWire and BearShare. So that was the good old days. I actually had a fuck ton of cassettes, but they were my dad's, and they like he busted me with his Eminem tape when I was like in kindergarten or first grade, and then he took all his tapes away from me after that. But he had like Slayer and all kinds of shit. I miss cassettes. They're dope.
But moving on to Joe's favorite song, which, oh man, this is such a funny song, and hip hop doesn't do this anymore. You don't have joke MCs really anymore, but "Freak Mama" by Sir Mix-a-Lot and Mudhoney just rips. It's got this really kind of cheesy, showy guitar riff that they do, the dun 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 dun, and then Sir Mix-a-Lot comes in and, dude, this song is better than Baby Got Back. Like, this should have been a second hit for him, dude. This thing is just hilarious. Joe,
Yeah,
take it away.
It's fucking good. It rips, man. He matches the energy of the riffs and the, like, it's almost like having a battle, but he's battling the band. They're trying to one up each other, and it just gives so much energy to the song, and he lays into it. Like, he's I don't know if they actually recorded together in the studio, but it sounds like they had a blast recording this, because this song just flies from start to end. And I mean, he even raps in the name of the band and stuff in with it, like Mudhoney, blah blah blah. And you know, I love Mr. Mix-a-Lot, man. He's great. I mean, what's not to love? You know,
I think they had to be in the studio together, because at the end of the song, when him and the singer from Mudhoney are going back and forth, like, Sir Mix-a-Lot's laughing his ass off. Like, he is legitimately like hilariously laughing, and I don't think he did that by himself. And yeah, dude, it's raunchy. It's about a freak mama. It's full of dad jokes like Sir Mix-a-Lot stuff is, but man, that's what made him so great.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's a great, fun song, man. There's nothing I could say bad about it. How could you listen to this song and not enjoy it? I mean, there has to be something wrong with you if you listen to this song and you don't like it. I mean, come on.
I thought it was definitely one of the more fun songs on the album myself. I love Sir Mix-a-Lot. And I like some of Mudhoney's work, and so like when I heard it with that opening guitar riff, and it's just super heavy, and then like Sir Mix-a-Lot comes in with these fast, like just funny fucking rhymes. I thought it was fantastic. I got there's a song that Ice-T does on one of the Body Count albums. I think it's the first one, called KKK Bitch. And like I got some of the same vibes from both of those songs, just because the joke around the KKK bitch was Ice-T dating a Grand Wizard's daughter, and like it's funny and kind of jokey. And no, it's really good. You'll have to listen to it if you haven't heard it already. But I kind of got the same thing from this. It's like that, the jokiness and kind of funniness of that mixed in with like Super Freak from Rick James, and it was a real fun song, and one that I was glad was on the album. Sir Mix-a-Lot does not get the love and support that he deserves. That man was knighted by the Queen, and nobody shows him any fucking respect. What?
He won a Grammy for Baby Got Back. This was like the track that followed his Grammy winning, and this was better than that song in my opinion. Like I enjoy the hell out of this song. I giggle when I listen to it.
I could picture these guys in the studio where they were playing, and maybe it wasn't as up tempo, maybe it was a little slower, and they're like, "You want to try it faster?" And they probably redid it every time and just up the tempo, and then until they're like, let's just rip it, and they just fucking fly through it like at that higher tempo. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like back and forth, faster, and then they come to this one, and it just, you could feel the energy in the song. Like, these guys had a blast recording this song in the studio.
It was good to see Mudhoney get some love too, because they were kind of like the Bad Religion of grunge. They were like the band that like had the record label to put everybody out, but like never caught on with a lot of the other bands. But they were actually better than most of them, so it was kind of cool that like they got involved in this neat little project, and they got involved in such a fun song. I mean, like, it fits perfectly. When I first, much like the Dinosaur Jr. and Deltron one that we'll talk about in a minute, like, I remember looking at the tape being just like, what the fuck is this going to sound like? You know what I mean? And then when I heard it, I'm just like, this is glorious, man. This is this is what it's all about.
It was that is the song for me on the album for sure.
All right. And then zipping right along, like I just mentioned, the next song up is Del, the Funky Homo Sapien, teamed up with Dinosaur Jr., performing the song Missing Link, which is my favorite song on the album. It ties the whole thing together because even as it is, it probably shouldn't work if it's because Deltron or Del the Funky Homo Sapien is the rapper that he is, that he could take this kind of down tempo, uh, folky dun 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 beat and just Aesop Rock rap all over it. I mean, like in this track, he literally is Aesop Rock before Aesop Rock. He's all over the place. He's metaphoring. He's got similes. It's just such a trip of a track. And then you got John Macias in the background just going like doing his like folk singer, you don't know, and it gels, man, and it's just such a moody, just flowing, funky track. I absolutely adore it. You got the crybaby wow, 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 wow guitar going with it. Oh man, this track is unreal. I can't believe that it's not a hit. And Del the Funky Homo Sapien isn't more known, but whatever. He's the progenitor of the style of rap I love: backpack rap, skater rap, stoner rap, conscious rap, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, like he really shown his true strengths early on with this track. Goose, I know you got some notes, man. Go ahead and
Oh,
step
dude,
on
yeah,
in.
no, this like you said, this is my favorite song on the album. This is one of my favorite rappers. You mentioned my other one, Aesop Rock and Del the Funky Homo Sapien. Like they're two of my absolute favorites. I can't give them enough praise. But this is Del the Funky Homo Sapien flexing his lyrical prowess over a tasty tune by Dinosaur. I wrote Dino Jr. in my notes as shorthand, but Dinosaur Jr. And I really can't believe I've never heard this song before. This is very, very early Del, back when he was still known in the business as just Ice Cube's cousin. And that's Ice Cube was trying to put him on in a lot of stuff. This is, I think, around the time I wish my brother George was here. But this is, I had never heard this before. And that was a big surprise to me. This was him, like I said, flexing his lyrical prowess and showing off. He has mentions to Kitty Pryde, which kind of
Yeah,
show that nerdiness, like you said, from the backpack raps, and you get those references that you wouldn't normally hear around that time. It was like you said, you had your Run DMC type groups, and then you had gangster rap all coming out, and Del was just kind of in the middle of that, being an incredible storyteller as well as spitting out these complicated just mouthfuls of rhymes, and he did it with such finesse and just this lackadaisical, just it's almost like he was born with the talent to do what he was doing. Like he didn't have to practice or anything. It was just flowing from him, and his nerdiness just adds to the things that I love about him. And like you said, this really does tie the whole album together. It is the crunchiness that you get from some of the heavier tunes with that same kind of relaxing, just flowy, kind of conscious, jazzy style raps that we got with De La Soul and Cypress Hill with the Sonic Youth song. And so I think this was a perfect mix. And like you said, when I saw Dinosaur Jr. and Del mashed up, I couldn't think about how that would actually work in a larger sense. And dude, it just fucking did. It's no surprise, as much as I love Del, I love this track. It's my favorite one on the album. It got added along with a couple of the others to like favorite songs playlist that I hold like special songs in. So I was glad we got to listen to this because I'd never heard that. It was definitely a treat. I loved it.
Joey, you got any feelings out for this one? You muted, buddy. You're pulling a goose on me.
Yeah, this song, man, this song perfectly closes out those the four songs that I love on this album. Like it's perfect. That groovy guitar, and then you have Del fucking rapping perfectly along with it. It's really well done, and I love Del, man. He's awesome. Like the first time I heard him was on Hieroglyphics, and man, he rips so many songs on that album. Third Eye Vision or whatever it's called, man, that album is fucking awesome, and Dell just rips that album apart. And you can see the vibes he got here that maybe later on you'd probably see a little bit in Gorillaz when he did that one album with Gorillaz and stuff as well. And yeah, man, it's a really solid song. Probably it's right up there with Freak Mama, man. It's definitely one of my favorites on the album because it's not too slow. It's like got the perfect rhythm to it. You know, it's not hyper energetic and it's not super slow, laid back, drowsy. It's got that perfect flow. That's just the right amount of energy. And yeah, man, it's the perfect way to close out those 4 songs that I love so much.
Yeah, it's just a cool cruising track. You know what I mean? You could like listen to it in the car and just bob your head and have
such a groovy tune with the guitar and stuff. I mean, it's great.
Well, I think that's a lot of the vibes that you get from Dell in some of his later albums. My favorite being Future Development, either that or Deltron. You mentioned Hieroglyphics, and I always think about him with the Souls of Mischief on 93 to Infinity. Is probably one of the first songs that I really like remember Dell being in. But you'd mentioned the Gorillaz album, and one of my favorite things, I watched an interview with him. That song was out for like a year before Dell even knew it was popular. Like he was in the recording studio next to what's the Blur fucker's name? I can't ever remember. The one who fronts
Damien Albarn.
Perfect. And so he's in the studio, and his buddy was like, "Yo, come in here. You know, we don't like the way this sounds. Like, maybe lay something down." So he writes his like verses in that song in like 20 minutes, and then goes in and drops them, and then just forgets about the whole shit. Now until his homie's like, "Yo, isn't this you?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's like one of the #1 songs in the country." And then like he called up Damon, and Damon was like, "Yeah, we're sending you your checks. Like, have you not been getting them?" And then like he went and like checked his mail for the first time in a couple of weeks and had like a fuck ton of checks in there. And I just always thought that was super great. The song that kind of really propelled him, which was that Gorillaz song, like he didn't even like he said he wrote the verses and shit and then just fucking forgot about all of it until his buddy was like, "Yo, isn't this you?" And the whole thing was after Damon had like he wrote verses for it as well, but his verses were trash. Apparently he didn't like what he was saying, and then Dell dropped those on him. And then he was like, "Oh no, this is perfect." And they spent a couple of months like tweaking the rest of the album, but when it dropped, like Dell didn't know anything about it. And then they just like, you know, a year later, after the song had gotten popular, people are just like, "Oh, this is you." And then he started getting paid, and I absolutely love it.
That his part on that song is awesome. It's amazing, and it just goes to show you, like, yeah, and it just goes to show you, like you said, he just dropped that down in like a half an hour, recorded it, and got the fuck out. And man, it's fucking clean. It's awesome. It's yeah, the dude's awesome. He's really good.
Yeah, the Deltron albums were always really important for me. I liked it when he got angry. Like Deltron was just, yeah. For me and my skater friends, yeah, that was his pièce de résistance for us. But yeah, everything he does is golden. Like I said, he is responsible for the style of hip hop I love the most. So yeah, he's always going to be very special. Him and Mighty Mos. So yeah.
Yeah, Mos Def, you mean?
Yeah, Mos Def.
Yeah, I love that Black on Both Sides. That's one of my favorite albums.
I was like 20 feet away from him at Erykah Badu's birthday party. She does this big thing in Dallas every year, right? He was there, Dave Chappelle was there, a whole bunch of other people, but he came out and he performed. He did Miss Fat Booty, which is my favorite song by him, and a couple of others, and like I didn't know he was going to be there, and I was so fucking stoked. You just said it, like Mos Def is another one of those, like him and we were talking about something on the show. Somebody had mentioned Talib Kweli. Oh no, we were talking about Attack the Block, and Talib Kweli did a lot of the soundtrack for Attack the Block. Him and Mos worked on Black Stars together, and that was some of my favorite like joint adventures of Mos Def. Like it's, anyways, we can talk about Mos Def another time. I could go on all day about him.
Next up, we're getting towards the end of the record. We have the last heavy song, and this song, man, they should have re-released this in 1997, 98. It'd have been one of the biggest songs in the world, like when the new metal shit was happening, because this is like what all of them were trying to sound like. This is Come Out and Die by a band called Therapy that I'm not too familiar with, and an MC named Fatal that I'm not too familiar with. But man, they tear it up. Like if you really like that Korn era new metal and stuff, like dude, like these guys did it in 93 before like it was even a thing. Like we keep talking about new metal, this song personifies it. Like this is what POD and all those bands wanted to sound like, this song right here. How do you feel about it, Goosey?
It's, you kind of hit the notes on it for me. Most of my notes on it, I didn't know either of the two bands. What is it? Therapy and Fatal.
Yeah, with the question mark. Yeah, Therapy. Like I guess you got to pronounce it as a question.
That's
like Ron Burgundy.
Yeah,
that's exactly how I was trying to. What I was going for. When I read it as Therapy. But no, I didn't know them either. I didn't know either of the two groups. But it really, like you said, if it would have been released 5-6 years later at the height of the Korn and even fucking, I guess, are we considering Linkin Park new metal? Because I always just kind of lump them in with that group. And so like that's, I don't know, I just kind of got the vibes from that. It sounds like any song you would have heard on, there's a radio station that around here where I grew up called 98 Rocks, and it was 98.9, and it rocked. They played all the great stuff, but no, you would have heard it every day on the radio station there. It was a little generic for somebody who grew up listening to new metal, but it wasn't a bad song. Like I said, there's not a bad song on the album. Even like you said, you like Judgment Night a whole lot. It wasn't one of my favorites, but it's not a bad song, and I think that this just kind of fit in with it. It wasn't one that really stood out to me, but it's still a pretty kick-ass song.
Yeah, this one doesn't really stand out, but yeah, when you listen to it, you're like, man, they should have re-released this a couple years later. They would have had so much money, like both groups. Like I don't know how they could have did it. Maybe released it as for another movie, but yeah, they should have totally tried to rehash this song in '97. Joseph, you got a really serious face, man. What do you got to say?
The album's done for me.
Oh, you don't even like the next song? The album's done.
It was okay, man. Like I said, those 4 songs, just you can't play those 4 songs and put anything after it. I mean, there's nothing you can do.
The next and last songs are really good, though, man. Like I actually, I don't know, it's right there with the what's it called? Why do I want to say Soul Asylum? Sonic Youth song.
Because it's about as good as a Soul Asylum song.
No, dude, Pearl Jam and Cypress Hill together are awesome, man. Like this is really before they got famous too. And
I don't know. Maybe while you're talking about it, I'll give it a quick listen while you guys talk about it.
They do a little more funky. They kind of got like, this song's called The Real Thing. It's by Pearl Jam and Cypress Hill, and it bangs. I don't know, the Sonic Youth one might be slightly better, but like I said, this is really early. Pearl Jam, like they had just released 10. I don't think Jeremy had gotten popular yet. Like Pearl Jam didn't even make the album cover. Like Sonic Youth got put on there. Like any other time in history, like Pearl Jam would have been on the album cover aside from Sonic Youth, except for at this time period. And I don't know, I think it's pretty good. It really shows off Muggs's talent as a hype man. Like I always liked him in the background. I always like, if I ever was an MC, I'd like to have a guy like Muggs just like, ain't nothing but the real thing, ain't nothing but the real. Like, yeah, dude, like he really hypes up. And I don't know, it's just a really good Cypress Hill track, like the Sonic Youth one, in my opinion. Soul Asylum, why was I thinking that shit, man? Goosey, how you feel?
You said Soul Asylum, and now the only thing in my head is Runaway Train, Never Coming Back. I think that was Soul Asylum, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh no, wait. Yeah, Soul Asylum.
Shitty song. Not the point. point is this was how I felt about Ice-T and Slayer being a safe bet. I thought that this was kind of a safe bet as well. Not so much on the Pearl Jam side, but really anything you stick Cypress Hill on, for the most part in the early '90s is going to slap. It sounded like any of their songs that could have been on some of their earlier albums, like I've kind of said before, with the De La Soul and the other Cypress Hill song. But it's got that angry vibe you get from like the How I Could Just Kill a Man era of Cypress Hill. I thought they were. Oh, what are we doing? What?
You got the gun out, man. Oh.
Oh no! He said he's re-listening to that song and he doesn't like it. It's garbage. I like
Man,
how you went
Pearl
Roman
Jam.
Emperor.
Jeez, Joe. Joe must really dislike Pearl Jam if he hates it more than I do, because I at least give him this track.
Shit.
The older I get, the less I like. The older I get, the less I like grunge anyway. But like I don't know. This was more of a Cypress Hill song than a Pearl Jam song. Like their name being on it was kind of cool, but I was more interested in what Cypress Hill was doing than Eddie Vedder waiting to do his favorite Scott Staff impression, which I can't touch.
Yeah, just stick a potato in your mouth and you can sound like him. Just like, oh, like try to do Mike Patton, but say words while you're like the oh. You can sound.
Sorry, I was doing my best Eddie Vedder impression.
Home run picture, oh mountain, with him on.
Hey, that happened in Texas.
That sounded just as good as the fucking song.
All right. At least I found somebody that dislikes Pearl Jam as much as I do. Right on.
I don't dislike them. I just don't like this song. Doesn't mean I hate Pearl Jam.
Have y'all ever watched Wilfred? Have y'all ever watched Wilfred? The show with the dog. The
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Tara. It's always a pleasure to see you, girl. And thanks for sticking around. We're almost done anyway, so you made it all the way through, pretty much.
But
you got Steve Joey smash on Wilfred.
Pearl Jam. No, the show's called Wilfred, and it's got Elijah Wood and this like dog that's this person that shows up as a dog.
Because it's originally an Australian show, I think.
Not the well, it's got the same actor that played Wilfred in the Australian show, but they Americanized it. But there's a part in it where like Elijah Wood has pissed him off, and he goes down into the basement where they like smoke pot, and he's standing there and he's painting a picture, and he goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, just painting a picture of mountaintops." And then Elijah Wood kind of looks at him and he goes, "With lemon yellow sun." And like it's one of the funniest things.
Yeah, straight up. That's awesome.
It's so like drab and dull the way he says it, but as soon as I saw him painting the picture, I was just like, "Oh, dude, he's going Jeremy."
That's a good show. Anyone who hasn't watched that should go watch Wilfred. It's fucking funny.
That joke's good, so yeah, I'll check it out just for that, dude. Like that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Good.
Yeah. But
if you haven't seen the
Cypress Hill, I'll listen to. I still listen to Cypress Hill. Like their album they put out like a year ago was really good, man. So like I still bump their shit.
You see, I'm more about the albums than bands, right? I'll have a certain album from certain bands that I love, and I'm more of an album kind of guy than a band kind of guy. I'll have my few bands that I love, but mainly like Cypress Hill, Black Monday?
Black Sunday?
Black Sunday.
Like the second album?
Yeah, I love that album, you know?
Yeah, it's their Out Come the Wolves, you know what I mean? Like they got all their hits off of it, like Ain't Going Out Like That, Insane in the Brain, Kill a Man, like all of them were off of that, so yeah.
Like that album had so many good songs on it, you know, so. And back in the day, you know, you had to fucking throw a CD in. You couldn't just make playlists like today. So albums had to be solid. Yeah.
Nobody sounds like them. Like nobody sounds like Be Real, you know what I mean? Like still to this day, like he is like one of the most recognizable dudes in hip hop. Like
they have their own sound for sure.
Yeah. I just bump them. I like I don't know, like the newest album, they were really angry. It was a very political album, so it was kind of neat to hear them take that route finally. Because usually they just talk about gangster shit and getting high, but like I don't know, I dig the track. But back to this soundtrack, it was really important. It was really huge at the time. The movie not so important. Like I said, it's Emilio getting chased by Dennis Leary. There's some good one-liners in it. Cuba Gooding Jr. gets to try to act tough. It's definitely worth checking out. It's not a terrible film, but the soundtrack is definitely a must own if you're a fan of music. And if you want to see how the ideas of rock and rap mixing together actually started to work as a cohesive unity of music making, it's a good thing to look at. It's a timepiece. You know what I mean? It actually signifies a place in time that actually meant something. So it's a very important record for that alone. And I'm glad you guys joined me to talk about it. And we had a lot of fun. Lots of laughs tonight, man. That was good.
Yeah, man. Tracks 6 to 9, man, they're solid. Like that's those 4 songs in a row. Fuck it, it's worth it just to listen to those 4.
I think that the album remains relevant to this day in the sense that, like you said, it's kind of like a place and a piece in time that we won't really like see again. I don't think. It was a neat album. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Like, definitely will listen to it again.
They're probably working on it still. It'll be on HBO Max next year. Emilio needs to approve everything first, but yeah, the Snyder Cut of Judgment Night's coming. But until that hits the streets and we get a new soundtrack with, I don't even know who would be on it, man. Like Zillakami
5 Finger fucking Death Punch.
Oh, get off the stream already. I'm going to hang up on you for that. But all right. Yeah, this was another awesome Buzz Bite brought to you by Pink Buzz. This is still Graphic Vandalism. We want to tell you don't stop reading, don't stop listening to epic music, and don't stop Jesus, I can't think. Don't stop supporting amazing films. But until next time, man, you guys keep it classy and keep it chill.
Therapy.